everyone disagrees on. I mean, there's one person says one thing, one says another.
Okay, so one person said to organize, but you
Well,
say.
some people believe that it's 7 days, 7 literal 24-hour days.
Mm-hmm.
Others believe that it is 7 periods. The word yom can be used figuratively or it can be used literally. Others believe that it's a that it is a what's the word pattern. I can't think of the right word, but that there, you got it's all written in chapter 1 is written in poetry. Most of the rest of Genesis is written as prose. And so in Genesis 1 it says, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. It doesn't say the earth and the heavens, like that would be the order. It says heavens and earth. God created the universe. Verse 2, it says, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness covered the face of the deep. First thing that strikes me there is it does not say darkness was universal. It says darkness was in one specific place, covered the face of the deep.
So what's the significance of that?
Well, see, I believe in an old earth. I don't believe in a young earth. I don't believe it was 7 literal days. I believe that God created the universe over a long time. What process he used is his business, not mine. But that God created it. And so I believe that what happens is no one was there except God. I mean, no persons were there when these things happened. So the only way Adam could have learned it was from God. I believe the way he did it was through visions. That's how he did it with Abraham. That's how he did it with Jacob. That's how he did it with Joseph. It was through visions. And when you have a vision in the Old Testament, it's usually written in poetry. Now, poetry, there's 3 signs of poetry that this is poetry in Genesis 1. One is a chiasm. A chiasm is a Hebrew parallelism where you have usual parallelism. It's A, B, A, B, A, B. Line 1 parallels line 2. Line 3 parallels line 4. In a chiasm, you have line 1. In this chiasm, you have line 1 parallels line 4, or day 4. Day 2 parallels day 5. Day 3 parallels day 6. Day 7 doesn't have a parallel. And so you got on day 1, light and darkness are separated. On day 4, the day and the night are filled. The day is filled with the sun, the night is filled with the stars and the moon. All right? On day 2, you have the waters above separated from the waters below and the sky in between, the firmament. Okay? On day 5, you have the sky above filled with birds and the sea filled with fish. On day 3, you have the land appears, or the land is separated from the water. On day 6, the land is filled with animals. Okay? So you got the chiasm. Then there's also what's called a diversion. In Hebrew poetry, when you set a pattern, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. That 1 stands out because it breaks the pattern. Well, you've got 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6, 7. No parallel with it. When you have a diversion, that's the main point of the whole thing. In other words, the main point of Genesis chapter 1 is we should set aside time to worship God because God's the creator. That's the whole point of that chapter, is to teach the people that you need to worship one God, Jehovah, because Jehovah God created the heavens and the earth. The third point of the third thing that shows it's a Hebrew poetry is the phrase, in the evening, the morning were day 1 through day 6, but not day 7. Again, you have that diversion. And again, it does not say, and God called the light light. He says he called the light day. In other words, he's not talking about light and darkness. He's talking about day and night. And so he called the light day, and he called the dark night. So it's the day and night.
So some people say that because the seventh day is the Sabbath, that we should go to church on Saturday instead of Sunday.
What it's saying is you set aside time for God. Now, the Sabbath was a sign to the Jews, just like circumcision was. Paul says one person takes one day above another. He says, but if you do it unto the Lord, it's the same thing. So the early church gathered together on the first day of the week because that's the day Christ rose. Doesn't make any difference to me whether you worship God on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. It's set aside time for God. And people that argue with this thing or the other, they don't really hold any day sacred. You know, it's Sunday or Saturday, whichever, is just another day. And the point is, because remember, this was written by Moses for the people going into the promised land